All right, all right, all right, all right. Let me get in here. 7 o'clock, trying to get all of these things going for you guys. That's what we got to do. Let me tell you something. There's a whole lot that has been going on. We're just going to jump right on in here. Welcome to the Heritage Homeschool. Come on in here. Come on in here. You guys get in here. All right. Let me just go ahead and let you know that we've got Senator Maggie Glover already in the house with us. We are going to have a discussion as it relates to Project 2025. We're going to talk a little bit about what is going on now in our presidential election 2024. Going to talk a little bit about Kamala Harris. So I hope that you guys are ready. Get yourself ready. Get your questions ready. And we're going to get into this conversation. It's very important. If you're not paying attention to what is going on in the world, what is going on in America, I don't know what you're doing. I really don't. I really, really don't. So I'm not even going to hold it any longer. I'm going to go ahead and introduce and bring on into the house Ms. Glover. How you feeling? You know what? I'm in here messing up. I had your mic muted.
Well, that's quite all right. Honey, like I just said to my other daughter in this house, that's in the past, baby. Let's not waste any time on that. But thank you again for this opportunity to share with my brothers and sisters here in the PD, and particularly here in my beloved hometown of Florence. And sister, we are, as a community, indebted to you for providing this opportunity. And and certainly I am humbled by you allowing me to be in the homeschool.
You know what? I'm the one that's honored, and this is the last time. I'm telling you, this is the last time that I'm gonna let you thank me like that. We gonna put that in the past, as you just said. I'm gonna take a little note from you. We gonna put that in the past because this is a community effort. This is all of our effort. As we watch what is going on now, the height of what we can do when we work together. We can talk a little bit about what we saw 44,000 Black women do most recently as it relates to standing up and supporting each other. That's what we're doing.
Thank you. But you're hosting then. You host this. And just think about it this way. If you didn't, who would? And right now, we don't have to worry about who would, because Miss Jackson is doing it right now. And every time I come, I have to say thank you, because your home, all of this equipment, the know-how, we are indebted, because others may talk about it. You're doing it. You're doing it. And I'm certain I am not by a long shot the only one.
All right. Well, I tell you what, we have a lot that we can talk about, and I don't know exactly where you would like to start. I know initially from the last time that we decided to get into this classroom, and we're in Politics 101, and we have to be all the way up to November because it's important for us to motivate, educate, make sure your people and your family and friends around you guys out there, make sure that they are registered. But we were going to talk about Project 2025. So there's some things that we can pull from it. We've got enough time to, we won't go through all of it, but we can pull something from there. And let's start our conversation with a little bit about what people should know about Project 2025. And it could be one particular area because there's a lot. There's over 900 pages in this manifesto. Basically, they are telling you what it is that they would like to do. So I'm gonna back on up, and I'm gonna give you the floor and go where you want to go with it.
Thank you again. But ladies and gentlemen, we can talk about it, and I am certain that we will continue to talk about this until November 5th. That's election day, ladies and gentlemen, November the 5th, 2024. So we are like 100 days away from election day. And this 900-page manifesto that mega, the cult that follows the other candidate for president, has put together. And simply because it's mega, you need to understand up front that it is not inclusive. It is not DEI. It is not addressing diversity, equity, and certainly not inclusion. And I need you, young people, Google it for your family, for your moms, your dads, your grandparents, and get together so that you can share with them, young people, all of you who are on your phones 24/7. Share this, look up this document so that you understand what we are saying when we talk about this manifesto. This is the plan that Trump has to implement in a democratic America. And if he implements 2025, it will no longer be a democratic America. In fact, it will not even vaguely resemble the America that you were born in, because the Supreme Court has already said to the upcoming president, Trump, that he will have immunity. And now he asked them for immunity to get him out of these 34 felony charges that he has already been convicted of, and all of the upcoming trials that he is facing. If he is elected president, he will use that immunity to throw all of this out. He will never be held accountable for it, and it will be because of the 5 Republican appointed justices that he, the 3 he put on there, and the other 2 appointed by other Republicans. But with this present court, he is a king, and he gets to do whatever, for lack of a better term, whatever the hell he chooses to do.
I tell you what, I find like it would be very important for us to make sure that he doesn't get to use that privilege.
Thank you. That's why I want them to Google the 2025 plan. So you know what we are talking about. You will have seen it with your own eyes. And then I expect you to share that with your family. Let this be the talking when you gather with your peers.
I agree with you. I agree wholeheartedly. And I just kind of want to throw out just a few of the things that concern me, just from pulling for some of the highlights, and just so that people won't be particularly overwhelmed. I feel like they could, if you go on some of the sites, you can get a breakdown of it.
Is a summary. There's a summary of these 900 pages. But find something.
I know.
And to this audience, you need that. And those of you, the moms and dads and grandmamas and grandpapas who can Google it yourself, then you do it.
Well,
but you
I tell you what,
share it.
I agree with you. Here's what I think. Why don't we talk a little bit about just some of the key things that stood out for us? For me, I feel like reproductive rights and healthcare is one of the key things that stood out for me, like the potential changes and restrictions to access to abortion, to reproductive health care. That's a part of an agenda that they're really focusing on, because they're more pro-life, which for me, this thing is very contradictory, because if they are pro-life, right? And they're going to say that, and then within the same context of this 900 pages, they're taking away programs from young people, feeding programs, the Board of Education. There's a whole lot that we could talk about. So that's why I said, if we could just pick something that we could discuss, workplace equality, all of those policies that are important for us. What would we do without the Department of Education?
Thank you. And that's where my mouth dropped open, because I could not imagine in 2024 that an entire political party would put in writing they just disband the Department of Education. And I'm trying to figure out then if you get rid of the Department of Education, which gets the funding for public schools, how then are we to educate the future generation?
Well, let me say this. Okay, well, why would they be concerned about educating the future generation? I feel like that says a whole lot, because we're talking about a body of people who they don't have to worry about that.
Right.
Their kids go to private schools.
Right. And see, that's the point that we need to understand. They're talking about public education, the Department of Public Education, where my children and your children are presently enrolled. And if they get rid of that, that means that the federal funding that they normally would allocate for the Department of Education is gone. So if you cannot afford to send your child to to a private school and pay for it, where are we? We are back in the dark ages, where segregation becomes the order of the day again, because it will be the Black child, children of color that are hanging out here. And as parents, we will have to do what our ancestors did. Almost, they would have to come up again with schools. having to once again come up with a way to fund a school for our kids.
Well, I tell you what, you're absolutely correct. It's definitely going to affect the lives of many, many Black and brown children. But let's also be realistic in knowing that 1%, that few percent of people who are wealthy, there are a lot of economically challenged people who are not colored.
Oh,
There,
yes.
there are a lot of white people who are in
and
medium incomes and who are in
middle
low.
class and poor white folk. You need to be listening. You need to be paying attention because they are not including you. You are not on their list. And it's going to be hard. One of the other things, immunity for police officers. Now imagine that. They are taking out poor people on a daily. And now with this 2025 plan and immunity that Trump wants to give to police officers, they then there are no consequences.
That's very scary.
Yes.
And when you think about some of the criminal justice and policing policies that are within this manifesto, you've got to pay attention to that. So there will be potential changes to that include policing policies, sentencing laws, prison reform. There's going to be a whole lot more concern that we already have about racial profiling. Okay, police brutality, which if we can talk about just very recently what has happened here with Sonia Massey.
Yes. You know, to me, that was just evil. And I honestly, I kept trying to figure out, did the officer not understand? I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. Because it was after she made that statement that all of a sudden his attitude, everything changed. He is the one who sent her to go check on the boiling water. She was looking for her ID and some other paperwork she wanted him to share. And he heard and saw the boiling water and sent her there. And when she picked the pot up and turned around, everything changed. They had a sentence or two. He said something to her. She said something back to him. And then she turned around with the pot and he yells at her about the boiling water and facing him. And she says, "Oh, did you think I was," and she said, "I rebuke you." And I think it must have been the you, and not understanding that she was talking about, there is no way I would come toward you with this boiling water. And she was rebuking the thought that he had that she would do that. And particularly when I called for your help. And even though he repeated the sentence to her and to the other officer with him, he also was pulling the trigger. As he said, "How dare you?" about her statement of, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ." and he shot her twice in the face. And the version I saw does not match, but I've talked to many others who said you see her put it down, the boiling water, the container, she put it down and dropped to her knees and put her hands up. And this is the position that she was in when she was shot twice in the face, when they had 3 minutes earlier been having a casual conversation. And he loses his mind.
So what?
That's what I need people to understand. That would be every day, all day, 24/7, if we sit here and allow this man and his plan to get into office. And so I take you back to the first thing that Ms. Jackson said when we came on. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to start right now. Any and everybody you know who is not registered, you need to be having pools and cars working your neighborhood to make sure people are taken to register. And then more importantly, we got to get them out on the 5th. Those who are in nursing homes, wherever your family and friends are, we've got to get them registered to be able to use the power that we have, which is that ballot. And we have got to show MAGA and Trump, wrong people, we will not let you take us back. And as something else she said, this past Sunday, I think it was, when these 44,000 women on a phone call came together and decided right then and there that Kamala Harris is our VP. And we are going to work. We are going to donate to her campaign. And ladies and gentlemen, $1.5 million in 2 hours on that same call. 1.5 million and 44,000. At one time, across the screen, my phone screen, across there, they were talking about 90,000 that gathered, because a lot of us couldn't get on at the beginning of the program. But when they opened it up, they came from everywhere.
There was so much going on. There were people who somehow it ended up on streaming on StreamYard. There were people who had it going through Clubhouse. I've just heard so many different ways that people were trying to get in and allow their friends to connect so that they could be a part of it. For me, I have to tell you, it was one of the most incredible experiences that I've had. And just to know that within that small amount of time, because the news just broke on Sunday about, Biden went ahead and he decided that he was going to step down from the race. And then a little bit later, he went ahead and he endorsed Kamala. And just within a matter of of time and hours. This thing right here, you have women, because we all have group chats. We've got those sister girl chats. We've got those chats with our cousins and our friends. And we were just back and forth with each other and sending that message out. And that's how far it spread. And then when it was time to get online, we did what we had to do. And like Miss Glover said, that shows what we can do when we make a decision to work together. But I want to say this. And it's not to separate us as a people, because since then, yes, it was 44,000 Black women, but it was win with Black women, not only Black women. They said win with, which means you could be whoever it is that you are and win with us, because our goal is to win for all of us. And since then, I've seen men, they decided to have win with Black men. That was carried on and carried out as well.
That very next day.
On Monday, just last night, there was a win with Asian women. And believe it or not, I don't know what they call theirs, but there was a gathering for Asian women. There's been a gathering for white women. So everybody is deciding and getting their groups together. We have all of the sororities and fraternities, Divine Nine, who are coming together and rallying together to do what they can do. So I want to challenge each of you to do the very least that you can do.
Do
the very least. I mean, there's things that we do. There's things that we go out here and buy, and we're buying stuff online, and we're on Amazon, and we're Cash Apping in between here and there. You know what? Do a $5 donation.
Thank you. Yes.
Do a $5 donation.
Yes.
Put it out there. Use your voice. Make sure when you're out here shopping. Let me tell you something, Miss Glover. That I did this yesterday. So yesterday I went grocery shopping, and I also went to go get something to eat. And so my cashiers happened to be young people. So within the 18 to 20-ish age bracket. So, I'm checking out, and I say to my cashier, I'm like, hey, man, you registered to vote? And he looked. And I could already, I knew what that answer was, because when you register to vote, you say yes.
Yes. Quickly. Yes.
I said, well, you know what that means, right? I said, you have to go register to vote. Okay? You just graduated from high school. You're about to start college. You're here working. I said, you got to use your voice, man. You got to vote. So that's one. And I said, and I will be back here, because I frequent this grocery store. So I will see him again, and I will ask him again, and I'm going to make sure that he registers to vote. Okay?
Yes, indeed.
Also, so that very same day, I went to go get something to eat. My favorite little girl, she comes, she's like, hey, how you doing? Happy. Both of these young people, they're doing their job. They're giving good service. Okay? Starter jobs, So I asked her, she fixed my food. She gave it to me. I said, you registered to vote? That same look, she kind of look off. I said, I said, you know what you got to do, right? I said, we have something that we have to do. You do know that, right? And she was like, yes, ma'am. I said, okay, so you are going to have to register to vote, and I expect you to. And I said, and when I come back, I am going to ask you again, and I want you to be able to show me that you are. So we've got to hold them responsible.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you just got the example that you need. You do exactly what she just told you she's doing every time, and relentlessly. We have got to register people. It won't make a bit of sense. And on November the 6th, do you see what happened? Oh, please, Lord,
Listen,
empower me. Because if you come in my face on the 6th,
I was scared to say that. Listen, I don't want to talk to nobody. I won't go through your line again.
Thank
I
you.
won't buy no food from you again
Thank you.
because you did not care enough about me or yourself.
Thank you.
You didn't, because as we just kind of bring this particular topic to a close, as we were talking about Project 2025, but
And I
listen,
brought you here. I'm sorry.
no, we can't be sorry because
They
it,
got to know this.
yes, this is a full story, and this is how we have conversations. If you can't have a conversation with somebody where you can jump from one subject to another subject and go back, then I think your intellect is just not where it needs to be with me, and we won't be talking.
Thank you. Yes.
Y'all can understand. You can walk and chew gum. We can subject hop. But,
Yes.
But basically, we were talking about some of the things as it relates to Project 2025. There are people out here. You can go on TikTok, just put Project 25 in TikTok. Okay, you can do that. You like stuff in short content? It's broken down for you. But we're talking about this project it's a conservative policymakers and politicians manifesto. Okay, the project provides a detailed policy agenda and a roadmap for the first 180 days of a new administration, ensuring that conservative lawmakers have a clear guidance to implement their policies effectively. They have a plan. And don't think they didn't make this plan up yesterday.
No.
This is just for the year that is coming up. They have been doing this since 1974. Some of the things that you are seeing that are implemented now, they have been doing this. This is the Heritage Foundation. I don't want to take you through too much detail because giving you too much might be too much. But you need to know that this is not for your interest. So you got to find out. Conservative professionals and administrators, they've got it out for you. So by creating a comprehensive personal database and offering training programs, Project 2025 aims to place qualified conservatives in key governmental positions, enhancing their career options and influence within the federal government. That means the people who are currently now in these governmental jobs will be pushed out if they cannot agree to the conservative and MAGA ways.
Thank you.
And we don't need that. We don't
Thank
need
you.
that.
Thank you.
That's just a few things. Miss Glover brought up something. Well, we were talking about police immunity. Now we need law. We need law, but the law needs to follow the law. They can't be reckless. You know what happened to that protect and serve? Can we get a little bit more of that? Can we have that for us? So we mentioned that. So it's easy, guys. We talked about how 44,000 women got on a Zoom call, used some technology in a short amount of time, raised a whole lot of money and got behind an effort to support each other and to support a cause that will also benefit you and a whole lot of other people that don't have to look like us. But we made a decision to do it. And that's all you have to do. That's it.
Thank you. Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, in this particular race, don't spend as much time talking about the candidates personally, what you know and like or dislike about soon to be president, Ms. Harris. Don't even talk about Trump. What we are begging you to go to the polls and vote for is democracy. That we continue to live in a democratic nation so that we can raise our children and expose them to the things we were beneficiaries to and pass it on. This right to vote, I promise you, it's not in 2025 that includes you. It's not there. And so for you to be able to continue to have this vote, you got to go and vote that Democratic ticket. And from the president all the way down to Florence, you got to vote as we used to be told. Just go pull the Democratic lever and walk on out. Don't worry about it after that. Just pull Democrat, and it will automatically go down the list for every Democratic candidate that is running. And for the real first time, that's gospel. No, all the way down. Just pull the Democratic lever.
I tell you what, I got a video I want to play. Let me pull it up here.
Please.
1,000-page bucket list of extremist policies that would Project 2025 is a far-right manifesto. It is a 1,000-page bucket list of extremist policies that would uproot every government agency and disrupt the lives of every person who calls this country home. The Department of Education would be eliminated, cutting students off from civil rights protections and ending essential Title I funding for K through 12 schools. The Department of Justice would go on a murdering spree. It would rush to use the death penalty and expand its use to even more people while circumventing due process protections. Project 25 not only calls for national book bans in schools, but also creates a list of banned words for the federal government that would be deleted from, quote, every federal rule, agency regulation, contract, grant, and piece of legislation that exists. End quote. Here are just a few of the words on the list: diversity, gender, reproductive health, and of course, conservatives want to ban the word abortion. On that note, abortion care would be inaccessible and illegal no matter where you live. Now, we could have an entire hearing on how these policies would quite literally ruin and end lives, and I didn't even touch upon proposals for housing, climate change, worker protections, and more. If enacted, Project 2025 would destroy the federal government as we know it.
Thank you. Did you hear, ladies and gentlemen? Everybody's trying to tell you. I beg you to listen. And immediately look at the source of the information you're gathering on Facebook and all of the other social media sites. Some of this, for example, Trump has already got a ton of stuff on social media about Miss Harris, soon to be our next president, if you do what you're supposed to do. But all kinds of very negative, very ugly, just evil, demonic kinds of things. And please remember, as our ancestors always told us, small minds talk about people. Small minds. Have you ever listened to the other candidate? He has a string of negative things to say about every individual that is not a member of his cult.
Well, let me ask you this question. What else would he do? Because he has no good policies for the people.
Because he's small-minded.
He has nothing else to discuss.
Nothing. And that's why I want you to understand. Small-minded people talk about other people. Because as she said, got nothing else. There are no policies. And and you already know 2025 speaks to stuff he has talked about. But please understand, it comes out of the Heritage Foundation. It isn't because he wrote up these policies. This is what he's going to follow.
And because he realized that there are so many people who are, well, I tell you what, there are a number of us who really began to look it up, and it has been one of the most popular Google searches. So when he found out that people were becoming more aware, and especially when he found out that Black and brown people were finding out, he's trying to back away from it, like he doesn't have anything to do with it. But clearly, we're not going to allow him to do that, because if you look it up and you find out who the authors of it, the Heritage Foundation, many people from his administration, they are the authors of this agenda.
Yes.
So do not be fooled. Do not be fooled. But I tell you what, I want to change up the conversation just a little bit, because I was so stressed out not very long ago, just less than a week ago, or less than 5 days ago. I was very stressed out. I was looking at the political landscape and I wasn't feeling good. I really wasn't. And then we had a change on Sunday. So I'm gonna ask you how you felt when you realized that, we could see through the media, and we saw that a lot of the big donors were really pushing for Biden to back out of the race. And even before we knew that Kamala would be, at the head of the ticket, what were some of your initial feelings?
It's like it was for so many people. What bothered me the absolute most was that the people demanding and pressuring, which is a better word, they pressured Biden, and they were pressuring him because of what they were using. Because I honestly felt that it was a lot more. But they use that 90-minute debate to say the polls are showing us that you can't win. And his response to that was, they said the same thing in 20. The polls didn't said that I couldn't win then. But he said at that time, God Almighty would have to come and tell him to get out of the race. Then he, at another time, said in February, in fact, February the 5th, 2024, 14 million people across this nation voted for him to seek re-election. He won the Democratic primary, February the 5th.
Right.
And so he said, I'm listening to them.
So I tell you what, so we can fast forward this a bit, because we know where we are today. And so as soon as he made that, when he put his letter out, which I also at first, when, because once again, we've got everybody, sending the messages. My phone is going off, ping, 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 ping. And someone sent me a copy of the letter. And of course, I'm not getting ready to take that for gospel. So I'm getting ready to fact check this. Mm-hmm. And I realized it was true. So, he put his letter, it came out through Twitter, and it was on all of the social platforms. And mm-hmm. I was like, wow, this is really happening.
Right. And then hours later, mm-hmm. he came back and endorsed and said that he was not only endorsing her, he intended to work to help get her elected because she was ready
She was
to
ready.
be president. And I think that's when I heard him speak on this and say that while he thoroughly enjoyed being president and was looking forward to beating Trump and finishing the job, he cared more about democracy and America was the reason he was willing to back out and pass the torch to a younger generation.
Absolutely.
And that's what sparked this 44,000 on a Sunday, and then another 40,000 on Monday of Black men of color, but men who also came out in support of Biden's recommendation to us, his vice president.
Right.
And see, legally in a democracy, there was nothing else or no one else who could take the slot other than the vice president.
I mean, she was on the ticket, and I'm just going to say this because for me initially, while I could see a lot of the things as a younger person, I saw a lot just like everybody else. Yeah, we can't decide it all on a debate, but we didn't necessarily. We could see some things that didn't quite look right, that look a little off. And maybe he could just be a little under the weather because they did come out and tell us that he had COVID as well. Mm-hmm. But I just felt like this was the time. And if he went ahead and admitted it, and I didn't really feel bad about it, I felt like he could have stayed there because Kamala was on the ticket. Mm-hmm. So it said Biden-Harris.
Thank you.
Biden-Harris. I mean, she was really largely why I was comfortable with voting for him anyway. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to be honest about that. So I felt like if anything happened and he couldn't follow through, well, guess what? She's there and she's ready.
And she would be president. And that was what I was prayerfully hoping would happen, because we would not be where we are today if we had voted for the original ticket, the Biden-Harris ticket, and then Democrats, because I got to get back to that little point real quick. Democrats, our party, our candidate, we were in the public talking and screaming about him getting out of the race, when here are members of the GOP, Republicans, and just think about it. At that time, not one Republican had ever stepped forth and said, look, Trump, you have been convicted. You've been impeached twice, and you can't be on this ticket. Not once. In fact, when he was in court, the speaker and other members of Congress put on their blue suits, a white shirt, and a red tie, and went to the courthouse and locked arms, embracing their convicted candidate. And yet, with a good man who had done much for us. In fact, as they say now, probably one of the strongest administrations, because look at what he got done in 2 years. 2 years, from our insulin cut to student loans. Every time I get on 95 or get on the interstate, you have to thank Biden, because that's your money.
Infrastructure.
From that infrastructure, our bipartisan infrastructure bill, I might add. But and many of them who did not vote for the bill, but when the department shows up to do the work, to correct the bridges and all, there they all stand, grinning at Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. Didn't even come, because he in Kentucky standing with Biden, talking about how wonderful it is to have finally get the money to reconstruct our bridges, when he didn't vote for it. But he never said that to the people. And so that's what I'm talking about. We have to now say thank you in the best way we know how. He stepped aside and passed the mantle to our sister. And if we don't pick up that torch and move forward to get her to the White House, hey, he will have done what he could do.
It's time for everybody else to do their part.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that.
All right. I got a little clip because everybody, what I have noticed is that Kamala has a way, she's got a fire in everybody. Like I said, I was feeling a little out of it. I was feeling a little bit of anxiety, but I feel a lot better now. I feel like she's ignited something. There's a whole movement right now, and I see it with young people because I see it all in social media, and I feel like there's a team, and I feel like there are young people who are willing to get out here and do some of the work. Everybody who can get out here, volunteer, find ways to volunteer. Like I said, go online, donate small amounts. It doesn't matter, $5, $30, $100. We make investments in things all the time. There's a coffee that we might buy at Starbucks that we could say, you know what, I'm not going to drink coffee today. I'm going to send this in.
Thank you.
Just make that sacrifice. It will be worth it. And I see we got somebody here with a question for you, Ms. Glover. And I'm not sure if I really understand the question, but I'm gonna read it here anyway.
Okay.
She says, question for Senator Glover. What is your opinion on voting representing self as an individual or going to the polls with corporate community intention?
Read it again, please, because like you,
what is your opinion on voting representing self as an individual or going to the polls with corporate community intention? And so I'm kind of thinking, and maybe she'll have to, Precious Pearl, you'll have to let me know if I am interpreting this correctly. But I'm thinking she's saying like, okay, well, we go to the polls and we vote for what we want to vote for selfishly, what we feel like we align to.
mm-hmm.
And then perhaps we could go to the polls and we're more so voting for what's going to work for corporate or whatever the community intentions are. So I'm going to say this. I'll say this for myself, and then you can speak on this, Ms. Glover. She asked you the question, so I don't know why I'm answering, but
my answer is her first statement.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the poll and vote. It's your vote. And so your interests, as long as your interest benefits us all.
You can talk. All right. I tell you what. If that's in line, we'll go there. All right. For me, This last portion of it about the corporate and community intention, I'm not so sure what you mean. So you have to come back and let me know, Precious Pearl. But I'm trying to read this. But I'm thinking that there are people who go to the poll and they're more so voting, like maybe if we look at how conservatives might be voting because they're more so thinking about the things that they want for their particular community. Is that what you're talking about? Because I also noticed that she had a previous comment where she said that Precious Pearl says, I have never and will never vote straight ticket, but I will investigate and lend my vote to each candidate and policy and their merits, but to each his and her own. And you're right. But you said that in the end. That is your right. And Ms. Glover said that same thing as well. So you get to decide when you go into that poll. You know, when you're there, you're right there in that box. That's you. So you're like all of the noise and everything is over. All of the ads and everything is gone. You're right there. It's you. So you get to make that decision. And as I'm thinking about that right now, it also brings me to, this is where I ask myself, where I see women, particularly white women, who are wearing MAGA hats, who are voting towards things that are not representing them as women, to a party who is not respecting them in their bodies and in their autonomy for their bodies. Like, I don't understand how they're doing that. And this question kind of takes me there because I'm thinking to myself, okay, you are married. You're married to someone who believes something, MAGA, but this is you right here at that ballot box. You get to decide. And I don't know how they decide to push a button to push that and say, I'm going to go here. And I know that this candidate has no respect for me. He is a rapist. He has been convicted for 34 felonies. He has other indictments out here. He continues to lie and disrespect women and have no respect for them at all. I don't understand that. I don't understand it at all. And they go in there and they vote. So everybody has their choice, but there's no way that you can tell me when it's just me and I get to make that decision that I'm going to do that, regardless of who I'm married.
Husband,
right.
Yeah. And that's what, and to Ms. Pearl, what I'm saying is when I say pull the lever for Democrat, that's in this present situation. Like you, I go down and I vote each column, whatever the office is. I go down and I look at every name and I'm looking for the name I know supports me and mine. And so I wanted you to understand why I'm saying just push the Democratic ticket, because that's what's on line this time. Democracy is what we are voting for.
I want to say something on that too, because same here. That is what I've done. But we also have to think about this. Okay, you can get the presidency, but if you don't have the House and the Senate, if you don't have that to back you up and you can't get anything done, what good is it going to be to have the presidency? We've seen that fail. So, we've got to have all of those lawmakers in there, and that's what they are. We need the lawmakers in here who are going to pass policies that are going to work for the betterment of all people, who are not coming in telling us beforehand, playing in our face, telling us what they want to do. That is really for the benefit of a certain amount of people. We cannot do that. We should not do that, not blindly. And I'll tell you this. By making that decision, believe it or not, it is still very valuable to them as well.
Mm-hmm.
It is, because there is a large number of people who are just not recognizing and really understand the effects of what they're voting for. It is unfortunate. Some people are motivated by racism. Let's just be honest with it. Let's just call a thing. Some are.
Mm-hmm.
Some are motivated by tax cuts. They're motivated by money. Let's call that thing a thing. But the large majority of the people who are at these rallies, they're not wealthy people. You haven't seen a wealthy star out there standing out there with a Trump hat on and at the rally. No, you haven't seen a large number of them.
Nope.
They're not going to be out there. Nobody's pulling up in Mercedes out there, or whatever it is that you want to identify with a certain amount of wealth. And even that type of wealth isn't the type of wealth that is going to benefit from a tax cut. You've got to be making millions,
And
multi-millions to even see anything like that. So often when I hear people saying, well, I'm going to vote for Trump because I feel like it's important to have the business tax cut. And I'm like, bruh, you don't even make enough to even be thinking about tax cut in that way. You're having a conversation that you're hearing other people talk about, and I'm calling BS, and don't play that with me.
mm-hmm. And see, because the facts are, Trump as president passed a tax for 1%, and the richest 1% of this nation's population, other rich people, Elon Musk, who told Trump, I'm giving you $45 million a month to make sure you do what you did the first time and pass a tax so that even with the 45 million I'm going to give you a month, I'm going to get it back as soon as you are reelected.
But let me make you laugh. I don't know if you know, but he had to walk that back.
I thank you. I know he did, because he realized that was blatantly unpopular.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know necessarily that he realized it. I'll tell you, he got a little assistance with that, because he realized that there were people, who were buying Teslas. And when he realized that the sales went down, because see, it always comes back to that dollar.
To their dollar. Thank you.
So when he realized that, they were like, okay, that's what you're doing with our money, and we're buying these cars, we're investing in this. Okay, so when he saw the percentage drop by 6 and 7% of sales, because there were so many Democrats, people in the blue who were buying those cars, changed his mind.
Thank you. That's the power of that blue vote, y'all.
And
you can make some others change their minds.
That's the power of your dollar.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. And I want them to understand November 5th, that blue vote. That's why I said just go pull the Democratic ticket, because I don't know of any of them who are not in total support of the 2025 plan. They're there. And so, and like I said, this is the only time in my lifetime, and I know I'm older than Miss Pearl, that straight democracy is on the ticket. That's what we are voting for this time. Not the individuals.
I tell you what, I bet you nobody with a MAGA hat is get ready to go through and look and say, well, let me vote for this blue.
I thank you. Not a one. Not a one.
I tell you what, we've got a lot more conversations, guys, that we can have between now and November, and we're going to have them. Didn't get to all of your questions and comments because we just kind of got involved in the conversation. But thank you for everybody who came on. I want to thank Precious Pearl. I see Julie Mack is in the house with us. I see Charlene McKnight, is in the house with us. Michael James. I want to thank you all. I see a lot more of you out here. But thank you for being engaged. Thank you.
I know these names.
Be engaged in the community. So we got Kamala Harris. We got her. Do you think we can win with her?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
If you do your part.
You think she can deal with Trump?
Oh, without question. And she has told us that.
All right. Well, let me play a little video before we tell these people bye. How about that?
Go right ahead.
Took on perpetrators of all kinds.
Yes.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
Say so. Say so.
The people sound like they were ready, Miss Maggie.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Honey, our VP is a lawyer.
Okay, the prosecutor
Cuter. Yes, indeed.
against
Yes,
the felon.
indeed. So, what better? What better? Who better? Come on. Sister is ready.
Yeah.
And let us just pick up the torch that has been passed by our president, present president, for this woman, and let's get to running with that torch. Every person light another fire. That's why you're running with a torch. It's to pass the light, stick yours in here and light yours, and you take off that way. I take off that way. Somebody in every direction with that lit torch to get her to the end of the line, and know that we got your back.
We
sister.
got your back.
We got you.
All right.
Mhm.
I tell you what, you know what? I love talking to you on these Thursdays.
Thank you. I love being able to share with you and my hometown.
Yeah.
On these days.
I hope
Yes,
y'all
thank
loving it too. I see you keep coming back. So I see Precious Pearl. She said, thank you both. Well, thank you. You're a part of this. All of you are a part of it. Miss Glover, we're going to shut this down for this Thursday. We'll be back at the next last Thursday of the month. And you guys, you got to leave them. You got an assignment, okay? You got to get out here and you got to make sure that you motivate somebody. When you go to the polls, take somebody with you. Matter of fact, go ahead. Go if you want to go shopping. I'm not going to tell you not to go shopping because I know we like to shop. We like to look good. I understand. We like to represent.
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you, go ahead and start thinking about your election day wardrobe. Let's show up looking good, feeling good, and make a good decision.
Yes. And for the August, if I'm blessed to be here again, I need you to put in the comments the number you registered. How many people did I take to the poll?
Well, I tell you, listen, I'm going to have a number for you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for, Florence.
I'm going to have a
Tell
number.
every one of you, Miss Pearl,
Miss
and
Julie.
Miss Julie,
Michael,
all of you. Next time in August, whether I'm here or not, you put in the chat. I registered, and everybody in here needs to make sure 5.
At least 5.
At least 5.
I know.
And right now, I'm talking about 5 a month.
Come on.
5 for August, 5 for September, 5 for October, Now, that will have to be your last file because you got to be 30 days.
30 days.
Before you can vote. So you registered them.
We got a good 60 to 70, about 60, 70 days. So
Yes,
let's
indeed.
be busy about the work. Let's get out here. Let's be serious. I'm telling you like this, I'm going for thousands. So get at me.
There you go.
Get at me.
Follow her lead. Follow her lead. Outdo her. Double down.
Please, because
Double
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Double down. Yes.
Y'all know me. Listen, you're gonna be sick of me. When you see my face and listen, I can talk and we can have conversation. And I don't mind a little small talk. I talk a little BS sometimes. I bullshit like the rest of them. But
Yeah.
guess what? That conversation is going to get serious because right now we living in some serious times.
Serious.
So I'm going to have a serious conversation with you. And if you out here saying the wrong thing, I'm not like debating you about anything. I'm just trying to put you on a conversation so that when you are talking to people, that you're not spreading misinformation. We can't afford to spread misinformation right now. We got to deal with facts. And some of us don't know some things. And let me tell you something. We don't have to know everything. And you might not. But if you're in a conversation and you're unsure, don't say that. But if you got your phone in your hand, because most of the time your phone is on you, stop mid-conversation and say, you know what? I'm not sure if you're right. Let me Google this.
Yes.
And don't
Thank you.
even believe everything that I say. Challenge
Thank you.
me. Google that.
That was our last. That was the June comment.
I love it.
Yes,
we go use that every time. I love when you say Google that.
Yes, please.
All right, y'all. We got to get out of here. We taken up a lot of your time already, but I hope you have gotten something from this. If nothing but a conversation that you can take into your own kitchen, that you can take to your own water cooler or have within your own group chats. Talk to each other, all right? All right, Precious Pearl said, homework assignment received. All right.
Thank you. Be on it, all of you. Be on it.
All right,
Get the job done.
give him that nice goodbye, Miss Glover.
Goodbye, my darlings. Goodbye, and thank you again for sharing this time, letting me share this time with you. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from the Honorable Maggie Glover. I always love having a conversation with her, and I'm going to just go ahead and get on out here. I see Charlene. I already know Charlene going to get some numbers because Charlene be out in these community service streets. And I know she going to have on her pearls and her chucks too because I know you a sister and I know you a soror within everything. So I know y'all going to paint these streets pink and green, but I know
Go
the
right
divine nine gonna be right behind you with red and crimson and white and blue and white and gold and purple. Listen, I want y'all to show off with all your colors, with all your letters and your numbers and your signs. Do all of that. Because I know that you are community service organizations. So I know I want to hear the numbers. Y'all come and tell us the numbers that you're getting registered, all right? And if you need some information on how to get it done, holler at me.
Thank you. Yes.
All right? All right, I'm going to let Julie put up her pink and green. Go ahead on, girl. Go ahead on. I feel y'all. Y'all supposed to be feeling proud right now. All right, y'all. Let me get on out of here. Bye, y'all. See you later.
Bye-bye.